Welcome to another exam made easy tutorial. Just before we go into the tutorial today, I really want to say some words of encouragement just to encourage us. Studying at National Open University, I understand how demanding, how challenging it could be, the finance aspect of it, the mental, physical, emotional aspect of it, fact that you have businesses you have to manage, you have work you have to cope with, family to cope with, and you have studying to cope with. We are indeed very strong and brave. We are indeed very, very resourceful and smart. I believe this is just a time, and that time definitely will pass by, and it's going to be for the good all together. So I just want to encourage us to keep grinding, to keep studying. It's going to pay off definitely. By the time you are getting your result and you are seeing your first class, you are seeing your second class upper, I can imagine that bright smile that will be on your face. So now is the time to put in the work to get that good result you'll be getting at the end of your program. With all this being said, let's head straight for our tutorial this evening. Now, today we have boss 105, element of management 1, element of management. Written here, element 2, element 2 or element of management, boss 105. Okay, element management. Let's just straight into the main body. Now let's go straight to it. So we have over here we have the unit 1 of module 1. We have introduction. We have unit 1 module 1. Unit 1, definition, nature, and purpose of management. We have the introduction, the objective, the main content, definition of management, nature and purpose, definition and definitions, and their analysis. So let's go straight into definition. This is our first unit concerning management, which is one of the courses you have to do to earn your BSc in cooperative management. It is a professional course, and the principles are expected to be applied in the running of an organization. The organization can be a business organization or a non-business organization. This means that the concept, principles, and theories of management are usually brought to bear on an organization so that the defined objective of the organization can be attained. In this unit, we shall be looking at some definitions of management. Let me quickly point out that there is no one definition of management. People give the definition according to their background, their orientation, and interest. We shall also look at the nature of management as well as the meaning of management. All these are necessary so that we will have a firm understanding and on a good foundation too. What are you studying? A good foundation of what you are studying. I mean, this is important because as a potential manager of a cooperative society or an existing manager of a cooperative organization, the resources must be properly used. Cooperative resources are usually very limited. Consequently, whoever is saddled with the task of managing a cooperative should be concerned on how the major resources can be combined to get desired results. So now we have main content, definition of management. It is its nature and purpose. Before we give the definition of management, it is well to point out that one of the most important activities of human being is managing. One of the most important activity of human being is what? Managing. And the idea of managing the resources of a group started even since human beings started coming together and working in group. The idea of managing the resources of a group started even since human beings started coming together and working in groups. This is important so that the objective of the group can be attained through proper linking of various activities being performed by the group members. As organizations, particularly formal organizations like business organizations, ministries, schools, including universities, become large, the tasks of the manager starts getting bigger and more complex, and the aim of the manager is to promote excellence. Management is a word used by different people with varying meanings. The noun management is used as a collective noun to refer to all those who manage within a particular organization. That is why an organization there are different people occupying different positions and seeing to it that the resources of such organization are put into effective use. There are also those managers that assist other managers to perform their functions. They are all managers. The word management can also be used to separate a special class of people in an organization from other classes. You should have had such statement as the management of the organization has taken a decision concerning the demand of the workers for higher pay. Such statement is making reference to those people that take decisions, whether a temporal decision or a final decision. In trying to give a precise definition of management, is always faced with problem. Take that again. I am in trying to give a precise definition of management, it is always faced with problems. This is because of the interest and background of the person giving such definition. The accountant will like to see management in terms of cash flow, how much organization is spending in order to get revenue or return, as well as timing of each expenditure and revenue. The marketing manager sees management in terms of analyzing the consumer's need with a view to bring out a product or service capable of satisfying the needs and at a profit to the organization. The personnel manager, on his own interest, will regard management as employing suitable qualified candidates to fill existing vacancies and motivating them to work as a team toward the attainment of organizational objective. We can go on and on. Now we have definition. We have Werich and Kuntz says that management as a process is designing and maintaining an environment in which individuals working together in groups efficiently accomplish selective aims. This is a basic definition which needs to be expanded in the following ways. A. As managers, people carry out some functions and they are employed to carry out the specific functions. These functions are commonly referred to as managerial functions. We shall be looking at these managerial functions one after the other in subsequent units of this course. These functions are planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and controlling, among others. So the functions of managers, functions of management. Management applies to any kind of organization. Organization cannot do without management. This is another nature and purpose of management. Management is not restricted to any particular organization like the Nigerian Bottling Company (PLC). Any organization has, long as human and other resources are there, calls for management. As long as human and other resources are in an organization, there is need for management. Consequently, management is needed in a philanthropic organization, in the church, in the mosque, in the Lions Club, in a football team, among many others. Assessments, self-assessment 1. Now, please let's take note. Let's address our self-assessments in our group chats. Let's access our self-assessment in our group chat. Now, you are required to study your environment, list 5 positive making organization and other 5 non-profit making organization where management is practiced. Now, C. Management is important to any level of to any level in an organization. In other words, managing whatever position you find yourself in an organization, you will feel the presence of management. Those that practice management by carrying out the function of management are called managers. Those that carry out the function of management are called managers. Management is also of importance to them. They need to understand it and appreciate it so that they can have depth of what they are doing. Without this, their effort becomes shallow and haphazard. Now we have the aim of all managers, whether a senior manager or a junior one, is the same. It is to make surplus, or what some call profits. Making surplus demands that the right decisions are made so that the resources available to an organization are used without wastage. All resources have value, and the values are always expressed in monetary terms, naira and kobo. Consequently, when you are making use of organizational resources, you are spending money. But the money is being spent because you want to get a revenue, which is also expressed in naira and kobo. But the manager needs to find out whether the amount he's receiving is more than the amount of money that he's spending. If this is the case, then there is surplus. If you receive more than you are spending, then it's surplus. If contrary is the case, it means that the organization is making loss. This is dangerous because such organization may not be able to pay salaries and wages of workers, buy raw materials with which to make good or provide services, pay for its electricity and water charges, among other demands. In a non-profit organization, efficiency in the use of resources is also demanded. Remember, we have earlier agreed that management is practiced both in profit and non-profit making organization. Even though profits plus surplus is not supposed to be emphasized in a non-profit making organization, they should at least break even. You might have heard of the word break-even point. It's the point, simply put, where revenue is equal to amount of money being spent as a break-even point. All non-profit making organizations should aim at this point, since by the nature of the operation, they are not supposed to charge their customers so much in order to realize surplus. Whether you are producing just one unit of a product, or you are producing million units of the product. The fixed cost, such as the cost you pay for machine, erecting building, etc. All these costs are there, whether you are producing just one unit of a product or you are producing million units of a product. The variable cost, as the name implies, vary with quantity that you are producing. If you are to produce few units, you pay less compared to a situation where you produce higher volume. It is the addition of the fixed cost plus the variable cost that gives you total cost. Addition of the fixed cost plus the variable cost that gives you total cost. When you have increased productivity, this means that this number will divide the total cost, that what you get is the unit cost. Now, when you have increased productivity, this means that this number will divide the total cost, and what you get is the unit cost. This is the cost for one unit of the product. The cost will be smaller than the one that will arise if you are producing a smaller unit, a smaller quantity. This is because smaller the quantity will again divide the total cost. The manager, therefore, always look at the situation where he will produce more so that the unit cost will always be smaller. Self-assessment exercise 2. From our discussion so far, take a sheet of paper and write two statements. One statement showing the nature of management and the other statement showing the purpose of management. Please, let's do this in the WhatsApp class or on the Telegram class. You can do it through a voice note by telling us what you think the nature of management is and the purpose of management. Now, let's move to second definition. Second definition of management. The second definition of management is necessary at this stage so as to bring out the clear, bring out clearer the nature and purpose of management. Sir Reynolds defined management as getting things done through the effort of others. You may have heard of this definition. This is popular and simple to recollect, and it's quite emphatic in conveying the nature and purpose of management. Examining the definition, it brings out the following. A. The manager is different from other employees. The definition conveys the distinction between the manager and other organizational members. The manager has a group of subordinates or the doers or operatives reporting to him. They are the ones that perform the routine day-to-day activities while the manager performs the managerial function. B. Management permeates, management spreads evenly the entire organization. The definition has established a criterion through which one can determine who a manager is. The criterion is that anybody that has a group of workers reporting to him automatically qualifies as a manager. He may be a top level manager or a middle level or a simple or simply a supervisor. It does not matter. He qualifies as a manager, and the qualification is that a group of persons reports to him. Conclusion. In this unit, we have looked at two definitions of management. First one was given by Werich and Knutz, and the second one by Sir Reynolds. These two definitions will constitute our working definitions, and throughout this course, we may be coming back to them as the situation demands. From the definitions, we have been able to get the nature of management, which include that managers perform managerial functions. They are creative, have a group of subordinates that report to them. Also, that management applies to all organizations and it applies to every level of an organization. That is, it cuts across the length and breadth of an organization. What cuts across the length and breadth of an organization? Management. The purpose of management is to create surplus through efficient and effective use of organizational resources. The purpose of management is to create surplus through efficient and effective use of managerial use of organizational resources. Summary: we have discussed the definition of management. This has enabled us to get the nature and purpose of management necessary to discuss other details concerning management. In our next unit, we shall be looking at the various of the values of management. That is, we shall be looking at those reasons that make people study management. We will also be looking at the relationship between management and administration and whether management is an art or science. Thank you very much. And we have our tutored math assignment. How do you define management? How do you define management? In your own words, take your time to define management. Drop it on our group chat. Let's all discuss how we define management. What are the things you consider to be nature and purpose of management? Why do we have management? What is the nature of management? What is the purpose of management? Show their relevance to an organization. Now, please, let's take our time to do this and let's drop our response. Let's react to these questions in our group chat. Why do you think we have management in an organization today? What is their nature? What is their purpose? And this brings us to the end of this tutorial. Thank you very much for sticking all through. And we are done with today's tutorial. Please, let's keep studying. Necessary basis is a yardstick for having good grades. Let's keep studying. Let's keep grinding. Let's drop our messages, our comments, group chat, and let's further look forward to what's coming. Bye.